that says, "It's been 4 months since the original post and it has been a wild ride. I am now almost 7 months pregnant and I'm expecting a baby girl. After everything that happened, I tried going low contact with my family. I didn't want to deal with their drama and chose to instead focus on my pregnancy. That didn't last long because my brother showed up at my door a few days later after the dinner with his suitcase. He needed some time to work things out and I was happy to give him a place to stay while he did. My sister-in-law and the other family members began calling both of us non-stop during this time. They were begging my brother to talk to his wife. Eventually, she convinced him that it was all a joke that had just went horribly wrong. I knew this was total BS and that she was lying. My brother seemed so lost and broken without her though. He went back home after staying with me for only a short time. Before he left, I talked to him about everything and told him all of my concerns. He said that he loves his wife and that it was all just a misunderstanding. He told me I was cruel for holding a joke gone wrong against her and that we both need to get over it. I couldn't force him to listen to reason, so I just let him go. After he left, I went back on low contact with most of my family, and I've been much happier since. I realized based on the response to my previous post,
$300 for that and $2,000 for this, way too expensive. But today I'm going to show you guys how to get all this stuff for a lot cheaper.
wasn't hurt by them assuming this, and I kind of received an invitation to her upcoming gender with me for only a short time. Before he left, I talked to him about everything and told him all of my concerns. He said that he loves his wife and that it was all just a misunderstanding. He told me I was cruel for holding a joke gone wrong against her and that we both need to get over it. I couldn't force him to listen to reason, so I just let him go. After he left, I went back on low contact with most of my family, and I've been much happier since. I realized based on the response to my previous post how toxic my family actually is. I decided to focus on the people in my life that were truly there to support me and my baby. My parents keep trying to contact me, but it has become less frequent lately. Yesterday, I received news that many predicted. My sister-in-law is now actually pregnant. I found out when I received an invitation to her upcoming gender reveal Zoom party in my email. I haven't responded yet, and I haven't heard any news from my family other than the invitation. I'm torn between laughing hysterically and crying for my brother. I truly don't know what to think. Fast forwarding into the future, my brother and sister-in-law's gender reveal Zoom party took place today. For the last few weeks, I had been debating on whether or not I should attend it. I had been doing well with being no contact with most of my family, but I couldn't seem to let go of that feeling I was being selfish and not supportive of my brother. So I decided to reach out and talk. I think I decided this mainly out of curiosity, but also loneliness. It's hard being pregnant, alone, and stuck in a lockdown. I reached out to them online. My brother and his wife are definitely pregnant. They started to try shortly after he returned home from staying with me. My sister-in-law told me that my brother changed his mind about having children after a long talk they had about their future. I personally think there is more to this story, but I don't have all the details yet. They did tell me they were sorry about what happened with my pregnancy announcement. My brother asked me if we would all just move forward and if I would come to their gender reveal. I agreed and decided to let it go. I also started to speak with my parents again. My parents did not apologize for their part in what happened in my pregnancy announcement. They didn't even really acknowledge that anything had happened at all between us. They don't ask me much about my pregnancy or my baby. They've only been interested enough to ask 2 questions. They asked what my child's last name will be since I'm a single mother and what the gender is. I told them I will not be sharing the gender with my baby until birth. Today was a gender reveal Zoom party. We were instructed to wear blue or pink depending on what we thought the gender would be. I chose to wear pink since the only dress I own that fits me right now happens to be pink. As all the attendees logged onto the Zoom call, everything seemed to be going rather well. My parents were in head to toe blue and said it was because they are excited that my brother is finally carrying on the family name. My sister-in-law and brother were dressed opposite in all pink. Everyone seemed happy and ready to celebrate. My sister-in-law had chosen to pop a large balloon filled with confetti that will reveal the gender. She popped the balloon and out came a cloud of blue confetti. My parents began to cry and cheer at the announcement. My brother and everyone else was smiling and clapping. My sister-in-law, on the other hand, was not. The next few moments were filled with all the guests saying their congratulations. My sister-in-law stayed perfectly silent throughout all of it. She seemed somewhat emotionless until I piped up to say my congratulations. I had said to them both, "Congratulations on your little boy. His cousin can't wait to meet him." My sister-in-law went insane. She began screaming that I was trying to steal the spotlight away from her by mentioning my baby. She said that I was being jealous and petty over my birth announcement disaster. She then asked me, "What are you effing having anyway?" She demanded to know the gender of my baby and began asking if it's a girl. She then said that I must be having a girl since I'm wearing a pink dress. My parents and other family members did little to stop my sister-in-law's meltdown. I chose not to fight with her or to try to reason with her. I just exited the call and I let it go. I don't know what my sister-in-law's problem was or why she behaved this way. I don't care, and I'm not going to let things like this bother anymore. It was a bad idea to break no contact. Was I the jerk? My sister-in-law broke into my Amazon account to find out the gender of my baby. My sister-in-law's drama seems to be progressively getting worse. She found out that I am expecting a girl about 2 weeks ago. She found the gender by logging into my Amazon account without my permission and looked through my private lists. I had given my brother the login information from my Prime account so that he could watch a show that he wanted to see. I had not expected her to log into the main account and view my private wish list / past orders. I was extremely hurt and devastated that she went this far. She took another special moment for me because she went ahead and told the rest of my family about the gender. She actually seemed proud of herself for doing this and thinks that it's justified because I was keeping secrets, as she put it. She actually thinks that this is a funny story and blames pregnancy brain for any of her poor behavior. I finally snapped and I told her what she did was appalling and deeply troubling. I told her that she has ruined every major moment in my pregnancy and I cannot believe that she is proud of it. I told her that she should be ashamed of herself and that I am embarrassed for her. I told her that at this point I will not be allowing my daughter to call her aunt because she does not deserve it. She had a meltdown after this and accused me of trying to get her to miscarry. My brother and other family members tried to jump in to defend her, but I made it clear that I will remove them from
life's best moments. You deserve to look your best. Love the way you look.
Try our spicy Cajun chicken, only at Firehouse Subs.
from my life if they continue to defend her. They have since shut their mouths and begun to agree with me. My sister-in-law then gave me a half-hearted apology and said that we need to make up for the sake of the kids. I do want to be a part of my new baby nephew's life, so I do feel a bit stuck in this situation. I agreed to just let it go and move on. I made it clear to her and everyone else that they are on very thin ice. Since everyone knows now that I am having a girl, I have refused to tell anyone the name that I intend to give to my daughter. I at least want to keep that part for me to announce when I have my child. I haven't even written it down because I fear someone will find out. My sister-in-law has asked me many times, but I just tell her I haven't decided yet. This last week, she started sending me girls' names that she is calling dibs on. I reminded her that she is having a boy, but she seems to be in denial about that fact. She likes to say we won't really know the gender for certain until the babies are born. Most of the names are ones that I have no interest in, as we have very different styles. She sends me about 4 to 5 names off her list every day. I generally just ignore her, but yesterday she actually sent me the name that I will be naming my daughter. The name is my late great-grandmother's name, and I have wanted to use the name since I was a teenager. I will not be changing my mind about naming my daughter this name. I will be announcing it once she is born. I do not care if this starts a war, as this is the hill I am willing to die on. I know this is just going to cause an issue when I share her name. At least this time I have time to prepare for her meltdown. I want to be a part of my brother and my nephew's lives, but I'm starting to see that it's just not worth it. So here's what happened when I announced my little girl's name. My little girl is finally here and doing very well. She is so beautiful and more amazing than anything I could have imagined. She is a handful already, but I'm loving every second of it. You'll be happy to know that I did not allow my sister-in-law to bully me into picking another name. My daughter is named after my great-grandmother and it fits her perfectly. I announced my daughter's birth and her name in a message to my family while I was in the hospital. My sister-in-law was not happy about my name choice. She was even angrier when she heard the nickname I chose for my daughter. It's a shortened version of her name that was also listed on my sister-in-law's dibs list. She posted on social media about my daughter's birth, and in the announcement she referred to my baby by a different name. She says that it's her own special nickname for my daughter. Think something like if her name was Grace, she decided to nickname her Gilly. It is very weird and doesn't even resemble my child's name at all. I told her immediately to stop and to call my daughter by her proper name or the nickname that I chose. I knew she was only doing it to bother me, and getting upset would just encourage her more. She stopped for a short time but never removed the social media post. I had my family over to meet the baby a week after I came home from the hospital. That's when sister-in-law started up with her games again. She purchased a bear for my daughter with Gilly embroidered across it. After opening that stupid bear, my family members laughed and told me to stop being so controlling. They told me to get over it, and that my sister-in-law's nickname Gilly is cute. They too started to use the Gilly nickname. I felt like I couldn't even name my own baby, and they thought I should just be okay with it. I realized then that none of them are ever going to change how they treat me. I saw that what I was allowing to happen was just as bad as what they were doing. I was allowing myself to be belittled, hurt, and used time and time again. The family members who did nothing are just as bad in my opinion because they never even tried to defend me. I've put up with a lot from my family in the past. I have had to get over so many past issues and pain because I pushed past it in the name of family. Now this was happening again, but this time it was in front of my daughter. What if they started treating my daughter the same way when she is older? I threw the bear in the garbage in front of them and I told them to leave my house. They are all just as bad as my sister-in-law in my opinion. I couldn't bring myself to yell or scream, but I stood firm. I removed my daughter from my mother's arms and showed them all the door. There was a lot of name calling, but I stood my ground. I am done. I have not spoke to them since. They haven't even tried to contact me. I intend to write a letter or something to them to say everything I feel. I feel like I need that closure. I intend to go no contact with them all from now on. I have spoken to my boss and there's an opportunity for me to move out east to work in a new branch of the company. I intend to accept the role and move there during my maternity leave. My plans are not yet final, but I believe that a fresh start in a new place could be just the thing I need. I need to do what's best for myself and my daughter. Regardless of family or anything, I am extremely happy right now. My daughter is the greatest little baby imaginable. I am so overjoyed to be her mother. So, who was the jerk in the situation? Something about this whole situation was strangely sad. It was like the OP just wasn't heard no matter how many times she tried to be heard, and every time she gave them the benefit of the doubt again or tried to come back together, they took advantage of it again and again and again. Like the family just knew that she would always be there, so they just pushed her to be in whatever corner they wanted her to be in. Hopefully she does end up getting that job far away and is able to start a whole new life with people surrounding her that don't just disregard her in the type of way that her family does here. Of all the things in this story, the part where the sister-in-law is trying to rename the baby is just so bizarre. She wasn't even having a girl, but yet didn't want the OP to name her baby that? I mean, when the story starts off, she doesn't even want a baby at all. So what difference does it make to her? It's one of those mentalities where it's like, if I don't have it, you can't have it. But yeah, you can only do this to the OP because it's okay to bully her, but it's not okay to bully anyone else. At least that's what I assume from this. And also the fact that the brother staying with the OP is the reason why he decided he wanted to have kids later on is kind of strange, because if there's some context there, we didn't get to see what it was. But from the way the OP describes it, it sounds like there wasn't anything there that would have made him change his mind about having kids. So anyway, let me know what you would do if this was your family, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe on the Am I the Jerk YouTube, hit the bell to turn on notifications, and if you're into podcasts, make sure you follow the podcast as well. Either way, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Aveeno Body Wash helps lock in moisture with the power of prebiotic oat.
Play through all 9 films in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga.
In the distant future, humanity is forced to reside in massive mobile fortress cities due to fear of attack by giant monsters called Klaxosaurs. Klaxosaurs can only be fought by Franks, giant robots that can only be operated by a male and female pilot working in unison. Dr. Franks and Zero Two arrive in one such city to develop his latest Franks. Hero, meanwhile, is left depressed after failing his test to become a Franks pilot and synchronizing with his partner, Naomi. He encounters Zero Two by chance, who briefly flirts with him when he shows no fear of her horns. As Hero's classmates attend the welcoming ceremony to become official Franks pilots, Hero debates leaving the city when a Mahoropitic-class Klaxosaur attacks. Zero Two deploys in her Franks, Strzelia, to fight it, but ends up getting injured and her partner is mortally wounded. Hero volunteers to become Zero Two's partner and she kisses him in response, activating Strelizia's true form. Strelizia effortlessly defeats the Klaxosaur, and it is revealed that Zero Two is a human Klaxosaur hybrid who has a reputation for killing her partners. Despite being able to pilot Strelizia with Zero Two, Hero has no memories of what happened in the cockpit, leading some of his fellow pilots to be skeptical about what really happened, since it is rumored Zero Two is capable of piloting a Franks on her own. Hero's fellow pilots are also wary of Zero Two due to her reputation, especially Ichigo, who is concerned about Hero's safety. Meanwhile, the leadership of Ape decide to further test Hero's abilities and instruct him to participate in a mock Franks battle, though he is forbidden from partnering with Zero Two or using Strelizia. Ichigo volunteers to partner with Delphinium. Zarome and Miku volunteer to be their opponents. During the mock battle, Hero is briefly able to connect with Ichigo and pilot Delphinium, but suddenly loses his connection with her and is unable to restart Delphinium. This breaks Hero's confidence in himself and leaves Ichigo frustrated that she can't do anything to help Hero. Following their mock battle, Hero's fellow pilots are assigned to their first sortie, with the task of defeating a Klaxosaur under the city. But as they are about to leave, Ikuno and Mitsuru's connection falters. Thus, the pilots of Delphinium, Argenta and Genista, proceed without them. However, the situation turns to the worst when they end up surrounded by a horde of Klaxosaurs and are forced to flee. Zero Two asks to assist them on Strelizia, but she's not allowed to sortie with Hero until Mitsuru, determined to prove he is a better pilot than Hero, offers himself to pair up with Zero Two. Together, Mitsuru and Zero Two defeat the enemies with ease and rescue the others. But when they return, they find a heavily wounded Mitsuru as a consequence of pairing up with Zero Two, who reaffirms her claim that Hero is the only pilot compatible with her. Mitsuru begins to recover, but is traumatized from his experience with Zero Two. In fear of what happened in the last battle, Zero Two is called back by the authorities to return to the front lines. As Zero Two is escorted to a transport with Strelizia, a Klaxosaur appears and attacks. The other pilots are dispatched to face it, but are overpowered by the enemy. Seeing Zero Two being taken away, Hero finally makes up his mind and urges her not to leave and become his partner instead. Zero Two then disobeys her orders and boards Strelizia with Hero, which she manages to successfully pilot. The two then help the others to defeat the Klaxosaur. Afterwards, Plantation 13 lifts off to rendezvous with Plantation 26, and Hero resolves that he will pilot Strelizia with Zero Two, even if it kills him. Plantation 13 links up with Plantation 26 in order to transfer much-needed magma fuel. However, the process is sure to attract Klaxosaurs, requiring the Franks pilots of both plantations to work together. Meanwhile, Hero becomes an accepted member of the squad, but Goro notices that Hero's health has been declining significantly, with a blue tumor-like growth growing on his chest ever since he rode with Zero Two. Hero manages to convince Goro to keep quiet about his condition. Klaxosaurs are detected heading towards the plantation, and a plan to defend against them is made. Though the pilots of Plantation 26 express their misgivings about Zero Two and Strelizia being involved due to them suffering losses in a past mission due to Zero Two's actions. That night, Ichigo confronts Zero Two in an attempt to convince her not to put too much of a burden on Hero's body, but fails. Ichigo and Goro are then both left feeling frustrated over how neither of them can help Hero. Hero meets Zero Two the next morning, and despite her warning that this would be his third ride with her, which may result in his death, Hero reaffirms his desire to ride with her. As the horde of Conrad-class Klaxosaurs, accompanied by a massive structure, approach the plantations, the parasites make a line of defense with Squad 26 on the front, Squad 13 in the middle, and Strelizia on the rear guard. After the Minoklaxosaurs are defeated, the structure reveals itself as a giant Gutenberg-class Klaxosaur that overpowers Squad 26. Squad 13 then rescues them and join for a combined attack to give an opening for Strelizia to give the final blow. However, Strelizia fails to destroy the enemy, and Hero collapses from exhaustion. He then accepts his death until he sees 02 fighting back desperately and decides not to give up, and joining with his companions to destroy the Gutenberg Klaxosaur. As the pilots celebrate, Dr. Franks rejoices upon the prospect that Hero may one day realize 02's wish. Due to their achievements in the previous battle, 02 is permanently assigned to Squad 13, and Hero is officially recognized as a Franks pilot. Squad 13 is then rewarded with a vacation to a nearby beach. As Squad 13 plays around, they observe Hero's relationship with 02 and begin wondering what exactly a kiss and love are. They then stumble upon the ruins of a town nearby and begin exploring them. They are perplexed at the existence of the town, since they initially believed civilization only existed in the plantations.
I'm gonna stop watching that. Chat, I'm so sorry. Okay. Wait a minute. Wait, what? No, don't tell me he's watching that. Don't tell me he's watching that. 1 second. It's not that bad. Never mind. Nope, never mind. It's bad. It's bad.
02 explains.
Terrible. He is insane. Nope. My twin brother sucks. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Nah, boy, bro. You go top, bro. Nah, boy. Nah, bro. Jet tripping. Nah, bro, jet tripping. I'm getting him. Let's go get this guy. Jet tripping. He actually thought he was gonna survive. I'm gonna come back, bro. Why they're gonna get him? He's gonna come back. I'm probably gonna get him. Jet was tripping. There that boy. There he is. Jet tripping. Bro. The funny part is, the funny part is, it's legal. That's legal. You're allowed to do that. It's harassment. Ooh. GG. That's the funny part. You're gonna be like, oh, you're just bad. So that I will say no. Bro, he still sees me spectating. I don't want to see you, bro. You ran away. I wouldn't have run away. Why do they have Pepe the Frog? Why do they have Pepe? Mission should set up. Season 4, chapter 1. Supposedly the Pepe was there. I'd like to know why. Chocolate. Chocolate's not coming out. We're gonna have to grab it out. The funny part is they only move this, right? They move things around and just put retexture stuff. Like I bet we've all seen that. That, right, was the volcano for like the volcano they used, right? For the floor is lava, but they put it closer. And they put it at another angle, and also that's the same as last season. Every chapter. I don't see no Pepe. Yeah, Pepe gone. They said Morgana. Pepe the Frog. Midas equal good guy. The worst loot ever. Life gives you waste the lemons. What was the one thing I don't like Fortnite for? moving quad crashers. They suck. The recoil on this thing. And the sensitivity. That ammo. I'm just gonna watch.
Explains to them that humans
Start your day sizzling at Wawa with 2 for $5 Sizzlies
Oh my
in your
God,
favorite
shut
varieties.
up.
A Karen steals my seat, purposely steps on my laptop, and has her husband grab me, so I use magic to get revenge. Here's how it happened. In senior year of high school, I was taking a plane to visit my grandma. The flight went from Baltimore to Pittsburgh, and then from Pittsburgh to Vegas, and then Vegas to Boise. The flight from Baltimore was almost empty, and I was Southwest, so I could choose my own seat. And I was on the same plane until Vegas. I selected the last row of the plane by the window, put my earbuds in, and took a nap until Pittsburgh. When the plane landed, I went to the bathroom while people were getting onto the plane, and to save my spot, I left my backpack in my seat and put my jacket on the seat, and I left. When I got back, I noticed this pregnant lady was sitting in my seat and her husband sitting in the aisle seat with my jacket thrown on the ground in the aisle with my backpack underneath it with a laptop in it. I was kind of annoyed, and I pointed out that I was previously sitting in the window seat and I wanted to know if I could have my seat back.
Can't you say that I'm pregnant and I need the seat?
She said very aggressively. Then I looked at the husband and asked if he could please scoot over and sit next to his wife. This guy looked me in the eyes and said, "Sorry, but we're allowed to choose our own seats, and I chose the aisle seat." Being a high school senior, I wasn't that big of a guy, but I was still not happy about sitting in the center seat. Realizing that this was a losing argument and I wasn't going to get any leverage over this lady, I decided to grit my teeth and bear it. I collect all my stuff and move into the middle seat. The second I sat down, the lady said,
You can't have your backpack in your seat. You're gonna have to find a place to put it.
"I'm just gonna put it under my seat," I respond.
Where am I going to put my feet then?
Growing up, I swore more than most people and really only watch when I say when I'm at school. Suddenly, I feel someone grab my collar. The husband pulled me inches from his face and said, "Have it your way, Walt. So here's how the rest of this is gonna play out. You're gonna sit down in that chair and listen to me talk. You're not gonna use that language to my wife or the baby. You will say you're sorry." I was shocked because not only was this guy grabbing me in public, but at the time I was only 17, so I was still technically considered a minor. But not wanting to make a big deal out of this, I just gave the lamest "I'm sorry" to the woman and put my earbuds in as the flight was getting ready to take off. While taxiing, the lady kept trying to get my attention by yelling in my ear, snapping her fingers inches from my face before she finally pulled my earbuds out.
You need to turn your electronics off during takeoff.
She barked at me. Now, my dad was a pilot for 30 years and he confirmed that electronics do not interfere with communications. It is mostly a formality so that people pay attention to the emergency instructions. So I ignore her since we are literally less than a minute from taking off. In a rage, she spams the flight attendant button so that one comes over. We also had a whole takeoff until this issue was solved. The flight attendant runs over and asks what is wrong, expecting an emergency.
He won't turn off his electronics before the flight. He's trying to kill us.
She loudly exclaimed, realizing everyone is staring at us. When the flight attendant asked me to turn it off, I obliged. After I turn it off, she starts to lecture me about how she was right and I was wrong, rubbing how the flight attendant proved her right. So the flight is in the air, and when the intercom tells me we can now use electronics, I put my earbuds back in and I crank it. About 5 minutes into the flight, I feel an aggravated tapping on my shoulder and turn and look at the woman.
You need to turn that down. It's bad for the baby,
she said. While I was listening to the music louder than normal, it still wasn't to the point that an unborn baby would be able to hear and be able to understand. Shocked, I responded with no. But the second she reached for the flight attendant button, I said that I would. I did the trick where you turn your volume down 2 times and then up once so that it looks like you turn it down 3 times. Better? I asked.
more.
She responded. So I went down one more, and before I could put my earbuds in, she said,
It's proper etiquette to talk to people you're sitting next to.
I just ignored her. I sit back, try to close my eyes, and amazingly, this worked. I fell asleep for about an hour. It was a 5-hour long flight. When I woke up, this woman had her foot on my backpack with a laptop in it. So I adjust my foot so that it would be uncomfortable for her to continue to keep her feet the way they were. She immediately stood up and I thought she was going to yell given her ability to overreact, but it turns out she was just getting up to go to the bathroom. She gets past me and her husband when a brilliant idea pops into my head. The second she steps into the bathroom, I get ready to get up and move my stuff over to the window seat. As I grab my backpack and shift my momentum over, I feel a hand grab me. I did not take into account the husband. You are not taking my wife's seat, he said. Sir, I have to warn you that you are grabbing a minor, and if I feel like it at any second, I could cry that you are attacking me or that you have made advances on me. I respond, and as he lets go, I move over to the seat that I had before. When she gets back, she is furious, demanding that I move seats now, to the point that the flight attendant comes over to see what is going on, and this time she sides with me. When she asks her husband to make me move, I look him dead in the eyes and he goes back to reading his book as she sits in the middle seat, pissed as hell. Thankfully, I moved seats because she was up and down in her seat having to go to the bathroom every 15 minutes, and that was pretty much the rest of the flight, except how she intercepted my bag of pretzels when the drink cart came. I responded by closing the shade to the window as we started to land at the Las Vegas airport. Once I got off the plane, I went to Burger King to get a drink and some food, and then I got to my next gate to find the last seat. I scarf down my fries and burger and walk across the hall, literally 10 feet from my seat, to throw away my garbage, and when I turn to go back to my seat, I see the same lady now sitting in the seat I had my bag in. She had moved it to the floor right in front of her. Then she shot me this smug grin, thinking she had won. Somewhat defeated by losing 2 seats to this lady, losing sleep and my patience, it was time for action. I walk over to her, gather my things, and as I got to her, I looked her dead in the eyes. I raised my right hand out, fingers spread, and hovered it right over her stomach. I looked down at my hands and then back to her eyes. I tell her, completely straight-faced, I just cursed your baby. I turn around 180, walk across the hall, and sit down on the floor, staring at her intensely. Now, I don't believe in curses, nor do I think I have the ability to place a curse, but this lady believed it. Her face was left expressionless, and she just started weeping to herself as I sat and watched. When her husband came over to see what was wrong, she told him, and instantly stormed over to me and knocked the drink out of my hand, grabbed me by the collar, and got right in my face. Listen here, you little turd. That's all he got out before security guards grabbed the man and detained him. The FAA does not mess around with who they hire. One guard asked me why this guy was angry, and I said that his wife had taken my seat, and I made a comment under my breath and he got upset with me. The officer asked me for my name and my identification and saw that I was a minor. He asked if I wanted to press charges, and I told him yes, but that I didn't want to miss my flight. He understood and let me go. Then informed me that the Southwest airline gate attendant to please keep track of me in case we needed more information. This meant I got to get on early and I could choose the first seat I wanted, an aisle seat, to see if this lady would get on the plane since she was sitting in the same gate as my flight. She never got on the plane, and the plane took off. Halfway through the flight attendant asked me if I put a curse on the baby, and I responded with, I don't know magic. 20 minutes later, the flight attendant told me that unfortunately, I would not be able to press charges on them due to being a minor, but that they missed their flight and they would have to buy a new ticket to their final destination with another airline. With 5 words, I cost this horrible woman and her husband around $500. Was I the jerk? This story was incredible. I honestly did not even see this curse thing happening. That is so genius. The guy could probably already tell that she was somebody who would likely be susceptible to believing something like that and taking it that seriously, to the point that she would get her husband so riled up he would walk across the entire airport floor to try and grab BOP. I just put a curse on your baby. Wow. That lady to this day probably still thinks in the back of her head, maybe my baby does have a curse. 10 years from now, when the baby is now a child, starts acting up, she might be thinking to herself, oh man, it's that darn curse. I keep having to deal with this curse forever. For some people, this would mean nothing. They would just brush it off, but this lady really was susceptible to this. Probably the best part to this entire thing was not just the your baby has a curse part, but it was the fact that the flight attendants knew about the curse and then asked him if he put a curse on the baby, and he just responded, I don't know, Magic. Those flight attendants probably will be talking about this for a long time. So do you think that you would come up with something clever like this in a situation like this? And if so, what would that be? Let me know down below, and jerk or not a jerk, and why. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay for my husband and his family's meals at the restaurant? I know that sounds bad, but I'll let you decide who's in the wrong. To begin, my husband and I don't share finances. It's been like this for the 3 years of our marriage, and so far we've been doing well. Though he'd sometimes try to get me to pay for him, but I do it only when I want to do a nice thing for him, say invite him to a restaurant. This past week, he got a bonus at work. He was overjoyed. He informed his entire family and planned for them to go out and celebrate with us. He picked the restaurant, meals, drinks, etc. I naturally thought he was going to pay for all that since it's his happy celebration, but it turns out I was wrong, because when it was time to pay the bill, he told me to take care of it. I said, why? It's his celebration, not mine. But he insisted I pay, and he'll explain later. I refused, and I demanded an explanation. He said that while yes, he is the one who got the bonus, he assumed that I'd want to celebrate that and offer to cover the bill for him. When I talked about how ridiculous it was of him to assume I'd pay for not just his, but his family's meals, he said that I should be happy for him instead of being visibly bitter. He then said he's yet to receive his bonus and begged that I take care of the bill now, and he might consider paying me back later. I refused and only paid for what I consumed. Him and his family started talking about how inappropriate I was acting. I took my purse and I went home afterwards because there was so much commotion when they started arguing over who's going to cover the bill. His mom spam called me for hours, and he went off on me at home, saying I spoiled his celebration and joy because I'm feeling bitter, especially considering I had enough money to cover the bill right there and then. I said it wasn't my obligation, that he was the one who came up with the celebration idea. He argued that if the roles were reversed and I got a bonus, he'd celebrate me and my achievements and pay for the damn meals after taking me and my family out. I casually said, well, that's just you, not me. He got even more pissed and said that he had it with my juvenile antics and that he won't ever forget the scene I made at the restaurant in front of his family. He's been upset with me for days now. Here's the update from the future. We just got into an argument. I showed him what I posted and he lost it on me. I accept my judgment, but he won't. He said, and I quote, "These people have no idea," and said that I should have mentioned that I make more money than him. Not that much, and I don't think it justifies it, and that he had paid the bills for me in the past when I forgot my wallet, but I did pay him back, so he's pretty pissed right now. Though he kept laughing sarcastically when reading some of the comments. He just walked out of the kitchen to take a phone call and said he'll be back. I'm still here with the dog waiting to see how this goes. So, am I the jerk for refusing to pay for my husband and his family's meals at the restaurant? This whole relationship seems very tense. It seems like the husband was trying to trick the wife into this situation. I mean, they have the arrangement they have. It is what it is. They've both accepted and agreed to having this separate finance situation. That makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is how he tried to trick her into coming to the dinner and then paying for it without even giving so much as a heads up before the dinner started. I mean, we don't know exactly how big this family is, but this could be several $100s depending on the restaurant and depending on how many people are in the family. And for most people in the world, that is a significant amount of money that you can't just spend without preparing for. It just seems like the two of them have a strange relationship to money, not because they have their finances separate, but because they have this kind of tit for tat mentality about it. I mean, the fact that he brings up that he paid some of the bills when she forgot her wallet, but she paid him back, it's just such a weird, stressful way to go about it to make sure the other person isn't taking advantage of you. When, why would you even want to be with someone who you're constantly worried is taking advantage of you financially or otherwise? It is interesting here that we get to see the dynamic of the person from the story actually reading the comments that people leave, even if his response to them wasn't very insightful. But let me know what you guys think link down below. Is the OP a jerk or not for not paying this big bill? Am I the jerk for saying it's a little embarrassing that a girl's nanny puts little notes in her lunch? So there's this girl, Nicole, who's 16 years old, and she started going to my school. I'm also 16 after winter break. She's a little weird, to be honest. She doesn't talk a lot, and when she does talk, she's so quiet that you can barely hear her. She used to eat lunch in her car, but one of my friends felt bad for her and invited her to eat with us. I noticed all of her lunches had a little piece of paper and she'd read it, smile for like 2 seconds, then fold it up and put it in a pocket in her lunchbox. Sometimes she'd take it out and read it a couple of times during lunch. I eventually asked what it is, and she said she has a nanny and she writes her notes every day. I asked her if she thinks that's a little embarrassing because I don't know anyone who's had notes in their lunches past 5th grade. She got kind of defensive and said that her nanny does similar things for her siblings who are all in preschool or elementary school, so it kind of proved my point. She started eating in her car again, and one of my friends got mad at me because apparently she had a really bad home life before moving here and she's never had anyone to do that stuff for her. I don't know how TF she expected me to know, considering she usually only talks about school, but it's starting some drama in my friend group, so I wanted to know if I was the jerk. Honestly, who cares if it's embarrassing? It's embarrassing to who? The OP? Because clearly it's not embarrassing to the person that's getting the notes, the other 16-year-old girl, Nicole. And that's just a sad situation that she's eating in her car by herself. She finally has some friends, and then people will make fun of her because she has someone who cares about them enough to do this for her and she actually appreciates it and enjoys it. That just seems like the worst take possible. A lot of people try to demonize things that are not normal, especially things like this, when this is not something that's even hurting anybody or bothering anybody, so why does it matter? If anything, because it's so rare, you would think it would be more interesting, but not some weird source of embarrassment that you're trying to impose on somebody else. But maybe you have a completely different take. Let me know what you think in the situation down below. Is she the jerk or not for saying that it's a little embarrassing that this girl's nanny puts notes in her lunch? Am I the jerk for dropping my sister's kids off at daycare and making her pay for it? I'm a 19-year-old female. My sister is 25 years old. She asked me to babysit her kids for her that are 4 years old and 6 years old so that she could go to a friend's party. I told her I can't do that day. I had an exam, so I had to be at college. Sometimes I can follow classes online and have occasionally babysat while listening to lectures. So the day that she needed a babysitter came. I answered the door in the morning and the freaking kids were on my doorstep and my sister was driving off. She just left them with me after I said I couldn't stay home that day. I called a friend that owns a small daycare and she told me I could drop them off there. Thank goodness. I gave her my sister's contact information and told her to keep me updated. And I texted my sister about what happened and gave her the address and the phone number. I picked up the kids from daycare since my sister wasn't answering her phone and I fed them. She picked them up around 9-ish p.m. and was absolutely livid that I left them with a stranger, that it was irresponsible, that something could have happened, etc. I told her that she knew I couldn't babysit that day and that she could have picked them up if she wasn't comfortable with that since I texted the address. She told me I should have just skipped the exam to retake it later. I thought this was a reasonable thing to do when someone leaves your kids off on your doorstep without warning and you can't take care of them. But my parents are on her side. My mom told me my sister already has so much on her plate and that I should help out when I can. I guess babysitting one day a week for free isn't good enough. So, am I the jerk? The key part of what the mom said was that she should help out when she can. Exactly as the mom stated, when she can. And this was one of those cases when she couldn't. Maybe in some places you can retake exams easily, but I know for sure in other places you cannot in certain schools. Sometimes a class won't even give you the option to retake an exam if you miss it. You just get to 0 and that's it. When people ask what exactly was the sister doing, the OP said she and her friends went to an escape room or something. It wasn't a regular party. My parents weren't home that night to babysit. I mean, there are emergencies that come up and you have to rely on people around you in your close support network, especially if you have kids. But if you don't communicate with them at all about what you're doing, or they say no and you don't find an alternative method, an alternative solution to deal with it, then it's going to lead to situations like this. The sister was livid about the OP taking the kids to the daycare, but I think she would be much more livid if she just left the 4 and 6 year old at the house while she went to school. So based on the possible outcomes here, it seems like the OP chose a better outcome. But what do you think? Jerk or not a jerk for dropping her sister's kids off at daycare and making her...
Not a jerk. The first one not a jerk, second was I believe second. Maybe... My lawyer's room. No.
A Karen
What are you doing with your Hawaiian shirts?
I want them tightly folded like a flag at a military funeral.
There's a condom in the pocket, and it's used.
Who else but Quagmire?
Morning, family. Anyone needs me, I'll be out in the yard using my new riding mower.
A riding mower? Say, stop making all these frivolous purchases.
Hey, what's up, Quagmire?
Hey, look, why don't you go bother Joe, huh?
I can't. He's in Vegas for the weekend, seeing that handicapped Cher impersonator.
What are you looking for, Brian?
That steak bone you gave me last night. I can't remember what the hell I did with it.
There we are, all finished. Oh, look at this. Look what happened.
Ah!
God, this is such an East Coast pharmacy. How are we going to find gauze and bandages in the middle of all this crap?
Just below the balsa wood gliders and the net bag of flip-flops and a beach pail.
Above the set of jacks?
Yes, above the jack.
Oh, yeah, I got him.
Hey, Mort, how's it going?
Oh, it's awful, Peter. The pharmacy's going under. I can barely pay my bills.
But I thought you made a lot of money here.
I used to, but it's all gone downhill since Muriel died.
I don't know, maybe there's something we can do to help you drum up some business. You know, get the word out.
Like what?
Hey, you just leave that to us. Is opening and closing the cash register a bunch of times helping business yet?
No.
Okay, then we'll do other stuff.
I have been waiting for my prescription for 25 minutes.
Guys, what the hell's going on back there? Remember, each pill has to go into the correct bottle.
This was a great idea, Pete.
Quagmire, look out!
Oh, no!
Banner of theirs caused the bus to drive off a bridge, tragically killing all the teenagers on board.
I'm ruined. Nobody's ever gonna shop in my pharmacy again. I'm gonna lose everything.
Ah, gosh, Mort, I feel terrible about this. Too bad we can't just torch the pharmacy.
Oh, come on. No, we can't do that. That'd be like stealing from the insurance companies. It wouldn't be right.
They wouldn't even pay for the fetus Lois lost when we went to visit the Museum of Staircases and Spring-Loaded Boxing Gloves. Quagmire, this whole mess was our fault. We gotta make it right. And look, as long as nobody sees us and we don't tell anybody, then we're in the clear.
A little off the top?
Yeah, but leave a little up front so I have something to play with. And take a look at the back. Yeah, let's trim that. I don't know when that started, but let's get rid of that.
Then light them all at once. It'll look like a short circuit.
Geez, Mort, how the hell do you know how to do all this?
Oh, it's all covered in the Torah.
I'm sorry for your loss, but the good news is your insurance will be covering all of your damages.
Yeah, for now. But I still got a bad feeling. He's gonna find something, I just know it.
All right, guys, all we gotta do now is keep a low profile and not mention a word of this to anybody. Ooh, yeah, I want to tell somebody.
The insurance guy said it was an accident.
Yeah, he seemed pretty smart.
I'm going to personally go over all the evidence. I'd hate to think there's someone in town who's out to get you.
I don't like Joe sticking his nose into this. Maybe this was all a big mistake.
You're damn right it was. Why did I ever agree to do this?
Hey, it's Joe. Open up. Oh, hey, I forgot. I brought you guys souvenirs from my trip to Vegas. I lost my shirt in lost wages.
I think maybe you should keep him.
All right, I'll see you guys later. I gotta go see the forensics team about the pharmacy.
Quagmire, you need to relax. And I know how to help. Calgon, take him away. This is the chief of police. I'm afraid you're fired.
I was looking forward to giving you your birthday present next week.
Oh.
This just came in for you from Officer Swanson.
A Starbucks gift card? This has been an unproductive use of my time.
These burn ignition patterns aren't consistent with an electrical fire. Would love to. Fine. God! No way! I don't know.
Oh, he's getting annoyed. Look at that.
He sure is. Okay, now tell him you want a vegan place.
Oh my God, he's so pissed he's calling.
You guys, I just can't take this anymore. I've been giving it a lot of thought, and I think we all just need to confess.
What?
Did any of you happen to be at Mort's pharmacy on the night of the fire?
No.
None of us were.
I'm triplets. Could have been one of my triplets. Look at that fire we started, Quagmire and Mort. You know who I don't miss is Joe.
You three are under arrest for burning down Goldman's pharmacy. What were you doing the night of March 8th?
Your mother?
It's gonna take a lot more than a fart in my face to make me...
I was at the movies.
What did you say?
No strings attached.
That Ashton Kutcher sure was a cat in that movie.
Totally.
Wrong! He had a heart of gold. You're going down.
Look, Lois, we were just trying to help Mort.
Peter, how could you do this? You have a family. Did you ever stop to think about us before you did something that could send you away to prison?
Come on, Joe, you're really gonna put us away?
You think I want to do this? You know how hard it's gonna be for me to make new friends?
Look, Mort was in trouble. We were just trying to help him out.
It's easy for you, Joe. You don't know what it's like to be screwed over by an insurance company.
Oh, I don't, do I?
Should restore his ability to walk. $200,000. We also have a wheelchair.
They didn't care about you. Why should you care about them?
Too bad I lost it.
Message deleted.
I'm starting to regret erasing that message.
Too late, buttface. Have a great summer, Joe.
I thought if you do something wrong, you're supposed to get punished.
The city of Detroit has officially given up. The now former mayor has given the key to the city back to the Huron Indian tribe.
Famed Asian competitive eating champion Charles Yamamoto. Yamamoto has not yet lost a hot dog eating competition on his world tour.
I'll bet you could win.
Well, I would, Chris, if I wasn't so obsessed.
Hey Dad, happy President's Day! What the hell is a President's Day? It's a day where we celebrate Washington's birthday. Isn't he black? No, that's Denzel Washington. How come there's no Asian president? Who the hell wants an Asian president? Me, Asian president good, just imagine! Hello, Mr. President. So how should we stop the spread of COVID? China stopped COVID, so we have to kill all the Asians. But sir, isn't that racist? No, more efficient to kill all Asians to stop spread of COVID. But Mr. President, aren't you Asian? Oh shit.
Do you have a disability insurance claim? Here's what you really need to know. Disability insurance is a highly specialized...
Hey guys, I got something for
you. Ever encountered an employee at a store that would give you such a horrible attitude? Well, when I was working at Walmart, my tolerance would get somewhat tested. Hold up, I did not do anything devious. But this one time, I was just casually walking to the break room, and I would cross the jewelry section as a shortcut. And this guy who wanted to buy something yelled at me pretty badly. Yo, open this jewelry display, and I ain't gonna repeat myself. Who does this guy think he is? So I decided to play Mr. Nice Guy. Oh yeah, man, of course. Let me go get somebody to open it for you. And do you think I did? Nope, I just chilled in a break room eating my lunch. Homie was probably waiting for another 15 minutes. So treat workers the way you would want to be treated because...
No way.
Today's video was...
Wait, brother.
Today's...
The brother. Channels. Oh!
Hi, I'm here to adopt this dog. Sure thing, but first you must face the adoption trial. Trial? Yes. In order to adopt the dog, you must conquer me and my dog in combat. I'll do it. I'll do it for him. I can't lose. I will beat you. Wait, what?
No. Wait.
Well, that was a nightmare, and I'm pretty sure I'm bleeding internally and punctured a lung, but it was all worth it for you. I think I'll name you Bo. Hi, I'm Bryson, and this is my dog, Bo. I've had him for about 1 year, and I love him. Today we're going to talk about some of the joys and pains of owning a dog. Bo, no! Stop! After deciding I wanted a dog, I searched a bajillion animal shelters and met several dogs. But when I met Bo, it was seriously love at first sight. His shiny, lustrous coat, his beefy head, his vacant expression, his muscular cheeks. How could I resist? But what really impressed me about Bo was that he could be high energy and goofy at times, but I could also get him to calm down. Bo is a stupid name! Bo, sick 'em! Actually, even the first hour of Bo officially being my dog was kinda crazy. On the drive home from adopting him, I was trying to check my blind spot, but all I could see was his big head in the way, so that was a pretty scary drive. Jesus, take the wheel! Bo is well trained now, but that wasn't the case at first. In the first few weeks of having him, me and my brother Braden ran into some problems. Basically, Braden tried to bathe him in... Thankfully, he's great at baths now and cooperates with us, but that first one was an uphill battle. I also didn't know how Bo acted around other dogs, so I was very cautious. One time I was taking him on a walk in the snow, when all of a sudden we turned a corner and saw a dog. Bo bolted, and I immediately slipped on ice, falling right on my butt and dropping Bo's leash in the process. Before I continue, put yourself in the other dog owner's perspective. A 70-pound pit bull is running full speed at you, and the owner is incapacitated. You are moments from death. Nah, I'm just kidding. It turns out Bo is very friendly with strangers and other dogs. But that would have been unfortunate if I had a murderer on my hands, right? I would have had to be all like, sorry my dog destroyed your dog and bit you in the jugular. This is kind of awkward. Well, see you later.
Doggo. Overpowered slide.
Satoru Mikami is killed after being stabbed. He awakens in a cave in an unfamiliar...
Another snowy night before I had trained Bo how to listen to me, he once again heard another dog and initiated make a friend mode. He started sprinting at full speed, pulling me behind him, and I was literally skating and slipping on the ice behind him. Surprisingly, the 1 ounce of coordination in my body made it so I didn't fall. It was actually kinda cool. Bo is also very nosy, like physically nosy. If he could talk, he would be like, "What you doing? What's that? Where you going? What you got there? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing?" Literally anywhere I go, him and his big nose are there. Sometimes you think he's off laying down somewhere, but then you open the door and he materializes behind you. Ah! Also, sometimes I'll let him sleep in the bed with me, but he lays right smack in the middle, so I have to Tetris my body in order to fit. Also, he's a big fan of drinking stupid amounts of water. He loves drinking from the tub, from streams, from the dishwasher, from the toilet.
Ugh.
So much so, in fact, that sometimes I'll get out of the shower, he will nose his way in and lick the water off my legs like a weirdo. But one time I got out, turned to get my towel, and...
What?
Bryson, why don't you just lock your bathroom door? I do, but he has learned how to unlock doors and stand on 2 feet and speak English. He's becoming more and more powerful, and I can't stop him. Bryson, it's 4 p.m. Time for me to bathe you. That's a joke. His IQ is 4, just like his dad. He's very muscular and strong and way more handsome than me. I'm kind of jealous because after like a week of having him, I had gotten more compliments for him than I have received literally in my entire life. Hey, that's a good-looking dog. You could use some work, though. I mean, your cheeks don't even compare. What? Also, Bo is a plush now. Isn't he cute? Use the link in the description to buy one before they sell out. Hey, Bo, what do you think? Bo, hey, give it back, give it back, give it back, give it back, give it back. Also, all the money I get from this will go to the Humane Society to help stop dog fighting. Just by buying this plush, you are helping save countless animals from the barbaric practice of dog fighting. Link in the description.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the video. Another thing about Bo is that he used to hate going in his crate. Several crates have died by his hand. I seriously don't know how he does it, because around me, he's a very sweet family dog. But when I wasn't around, he used to just murder crates from the inside, to the point where he broke a tooth off escaping a crate once. So I paid to give him a metal tooth, and now he looks like a gangster. I wanted to get a gold tooth, but sadly they wouldn't let me. Just know that I tried. Since I adopted Bo from a shelter, I didn't know what breed he was. I was pretty sure he was a pit bull, however, I was still curious to find out. So recently I got his DNA tested and found out he's a mixed breed. But he's mostly an American Pit Bull Terrier mixed with an American Staffordshire Terrier. Both of those dog breeds are classified as pit bulls. Wow, Bryson, didn't you know pit bulls are vicious monsters and all of them are evil killers and none of them are good dogs?
No, they aren't.
You should be more afraid of me than the dog. If any of you agree with this small-minded person who is now dead, then please do some research and grow up.
Yeah.
Okay, this next part gets a little heavy, but I feel very strongly about it and I want to speak up against unjust hatred towards these dogs. Pit bulls are dogs that have awful reputations, which I'm very against because I was raised with them and all of ours have been loyal, loving family dogs. Obviously I'm biased, so please do your own research, but here's the conclusion I've come to. Any dog can...
Fun fact. My stepdad, my first ever stepdad, had 2 pit bulls, and both of them were so friendly, but they were dangerous. I mean, like, if you couldn't control them, it'd basically be a serial killer that could be tamed at random times. So, so there was like the good brother, like the bad brother, and like the good sister. So I had this one. I don't remember the names. I know one of them had an S or something, maybe. I don't quite remember. It was a long time ago. But oh, my water's gone. Essentially, what happened was so the sister was both pure pit bulls. I'm not sure if they were the same breed, but they were basically like good cop, bad cop, right? But instead of like even the good cop's trying to get incriminated information about you, right? The good cop was freaking nice. Like, nice. They were so friendly. I mean, she would, like, go crazy at times. We actually kept them in this hallway, and our game room would be my stepbrother. He was younger than me. Our game room, we'd have to go open this little fence area in this, like, not dens, but, like, how do I say this? I don't remember the word right now. My brain's stupid right now. It'd be just a tiny area, right? It's just it's like narrow. It'd be like this narrow hallway. There was one bathroom, and there was 3 bathrooms in that house, I believe. So everybody would be like, "Oh, there's only 3 bathrooms in the house." There was really 2 bathrooms or 3 bathrooms. It was really 3 to 4 bathrooms. Because this way there was a door. There's 2 doors. The one to the left is like a little, like a meter away. And in that bathroom, you could see hair all over the floor. Like, they shed so much. So there was like one black pit bull. Like, it was just completely black. And it actually looked like that dog, but bigger. And like, I remember, for some reason, I keep remembering it with like pretty big legs. Both of them were like kind of skinny on the legs, but yeah, it was like that. The other one had like pit bull. Like, I don't know really it was basically like this, but all black, like that color, or like a little darker of that. Let me see if I can find the color. It was like this on the chest, like right here. So yeah, it was like these. Cousin actually has like 5 of these dogs. But it was kind of like, yeah, it was a little like. Let me see the dog. If I can find it. I just saw one just like it. It was like this one, or like, yeah, this one. It was almost just like this one, right here. These 3 right here are like almost exactly like them. They had long tongues, pretty long tongues. They were like this big. Yeah. And then the other one was like a different, like a little darker shade of this. I think it was like another one. What the? It was like a shade like this, and it was on his chest, and then there's like a white spot down here, and then it had like the color right here too, and then it had like some eyes and like stuff like that. It was like this, but you put the thing, and then the rest was just black fur. That's all I remember. So there was just this narrow hallway, right? Like a hallway like this, and there was hair all over here. There's a little bathroom like this. No, I'm not pointing at the video. Just saying. So there's a little wall right here, like right here. There's a door right here that leads into a tiny bathroom, and then there's a giant game room here where I used to have my PS4 that I still have, but it's like pretty much broken. There's this little gate right here, and then this is like near the kitchen area. I don't remember the house too well. So you go through here. There's a little there's a gate right here, and then there's like when you open the gate, there's like 2 dogs that I described, like right here. Oh, it was like this color. It was like this shade, but a little bit lighter on that dog right there. Or like that shade right there on the verses. Something like that. It's like kind of like this dog. Pretty much like this dog, but like just right here and stuff. But anyway, so in this game room, we had like this little place, but this bathroom, this hallway is super hairy. And yeah.
Be aggressive, and any dog can be loving.
Yeah, like this shade.
It all depends on the way you nurture and teach your dogs. Although sometimes professional training is required. There are awful people out there who train and force dogs to fight each other. It still happens, and it's absolutely tragic. People hear about dog fights and end up blaming and stereotyping pit bulls just because they are forced to fight. Here's a bright idea. How about we blame the awful people who fight dogs and not the dog who is just trying to do what his owner told him to do? Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be cautious. I believe that you need to be careful and cautious around any dog that you don't know, because people do get hurt sometimes. But if you are labeling any and every pit bull you see as a monster, then it's time to wake up, my guy. Please judge dogs on an individual basis, not based on breed. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyways, back to Bo. Since I love Bo so much, I also have a lot of nicknames for him. Here are some of my favorites. Bosif, Bozo, Bodacious, Bojangles, Bowberry Biscuit, Bosephine Rex, and Baron Beauregard. He is very clumsy. He hits his head on everything. You know how dogs are supposed to be able to see in the dark? Well, one night I turned off the lights and started walking towards my room, and I heard a big thunk from his head hitting the door. He'll also hit his head on walls, benches, other dogs, chairs, anything. I mean, how could he not with a head that big? So I decided to get him human glasses. So that was an awkward doctor's visit. Read off the letters you see. Yeah, I think his prescription is a bit off. After all the crates being destroyed, me and my family decided it was probably best for him to be professionally trained for a little while. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty depressed when I had to leave him for 3 weeks to be trained. He was doing good, but let's be honest, I'm no professional and he needed some better obedience. And I needed better training tactics. But I have him back now and he's better than ever, and I'm never leaving him anywhere ever again. Well, off to my wedding. Bo, you are coming with me.
Bo will now give the best man speech.